All right, folks, welcome to another episode of the Abundant Will podcast. so, like I said in the previous episode, we're going to go over some of the Hermetic Principles. I'm not going to read this whole book to you guys or anything, but I do want to read like a little bit of a portion of it, and then I got paragraphs and stuff highlighted for each principle, and then I'll read that through each one, and then I will do my best to like break it down just from what I understand, so maybe people can understand a little bit better. But I just want to, I would highly encourage anybody to get this book. There's a lot of good stuff in here, a lot of things that make you think, and it's just it's good new information, right? So that's uh that's the thing. And I just wanted to let everybody know I mean, I don't have it yet, but I went to the DMV and I got my real ID, so everything worked out there. So I'm just waiting for it in the mail, and then all of us just have to go to the I don't know, post office, library, or whatever, and get our passports and stuff. So yeah, man, things are looking good. All right, so let's get into it here. So this is titled The All. This isn't like any of the separate principles, but they all kind of, you know, they all kind of mash together and work off of one another. They're all kind of not saying the same thing, but I mean, saying it's just check it out. All right. So this isn't any of the principles. This is just in the book. It's titled The All. So I just wanted to read some of this a little bit before we get into the principles. Okay. So the all under under and and back of the universe of time, space, and change is ever to be found the substantial reality, the fundamental truth. Okay, and that's a quote from this book. All right, so here we go. Substance means that which underlies all outward manifestations, the essence, the essential reality, the thing in itself, etc. Substantial means actually existing, being the essential element, being real, etc. Reality means the state of being real, true, enduring, valid, fixed, permanent, actual. Under and behind all outward appearances or manifestations, there must always be a substantial reality. This is the law. Man, considering the universe of which he is a unit, sees nothing but change in matter, forces, and mental states. He sees that nothing really is, but that everything is becoming and changing. Nothing stands still. Everything is being born, growing, dying. The very instant a thing reaches its height, it begins to decline. The law of rhythm is in constant operation. There is no reality, enduring quality, fixi- fixity, or substantially in anything. Nothing is permanent but change. He sees all things evolving from other things and resolving into other things, a constant action and reaction, inflow and outflow, building up and tearing down, creation and destruction, birth, growth, and death. Nothing endures but change. And if he be a thinking man, he realizes that all of these changing things must be but outward appearances or manifestations of some underlying power, some substantial reality. All thinkers in all lands and in all times have assumed the necessity for postulating the existence of this substantial reality. Excuse me for a second. All right. All philosophies worthy of the name have been based upon this thought. Men have given to this substantial reality many names. Some have called it by the term of deity under many titles. Others have called it the infinite and eternal energy. Others have tried to call it matter, but all have acknowledged its existence. It is self evident, it needs no argument. In these lessons, we have followed the example of some of the world's greatest thinkers, both ancient and modern, the Hermetic masters, and have called this underlying power, this substantial reality, by the Hermetic name of the All, which term we consider the most comprehensive of the many terms applied by man to that which transcends names and terms. We, we accept and teach and view of the great Hermetic thinkers of all times, as well as of those illumined souls who have reached higher planes of being, both of whom assert that the inner nature of the all is unknowable. This must be so, for naught but the all itself can comprehend its own nature and being. Okay, so I'm going to skip a little bit here and hold on. Yeah, I'm going to skip a little bit here and go down a little bit. All right. And still more presumptuous are those who attempt to ascribe to the all the personality, qualities, properties, characteristics, and attributes of themselves, ascribing to the all the human emotions, feelings, and characteristics, even down to the pettiest qualities of mankind, such as jealousy, susceptibility to flattery and praise, desire for offerings and worship, and all other survivals from the days of the childhood of the race. Such ideas are not worthy of grown men and women and are rapidly being discarded. At this point, may it be proper for me to state that we make a distinction between religion and theology, between philosophy and metaphysics. Religion to us means that in intuitional realization of the existence of the all and one's relationship to it, while theology means the attempts of men to ascribe personal qualities and characteristics to it. They're the ores regarding its affairs, will, desires, plans, and designs, and their assumption of the office of middlemen between the all and the people, Philosophy to us means the inquiry after knowledge of things knowable and thinkable, while metaphysics means the attempt to carry the inquiry over and beyond the boundaries and into religions unknowable and unthinkable, and with the same tendency as that of theology. And consequently, both religion and philosophy mean to us things having roots in reality, while theology and metaphysics seem like broken reeds rooted in the quicksands of ignorance, and affording naught but the most insecure support for the mind or the soul of man. We do not insist upon our students accepting these definitions. We mention them merely to show our position. At any rate, you shall hear very little about theology and metaphysics in this lesson. But while the essential nature of the all is unknowable, there are certain truths connected to its existence with which the human mind finds itself compelled to accept. And an examination of these reports from a proper subject of inquiry, particularly as they agree with the reports of the illumined, illumin, illumined on the higher planes, and to this inquiry we now invite you. Okay, just going to continue a little bit here. Okay, the human reason who reports we must accept so long as we think at all informs us as follows regarding the all, and that without attempting to remove the veil of the unknowable, the all must be all that is really okay. Sorry. The all must be all that really is. There can be nothing existing outside of the all, else the all would not be the all. The all must be infinite, for there is nothing else to define, confine, bound, limit, or restrict the all. It must be infinite in time or eternal. It must have always continuously existed, for there is nothing else to have ever created it, and something can never evolve from nothing. And if it had ever not been, even for a moment, it would not be. Now, it must continuously exist forever, for there is nothing to destroy it, and it can never not be, even for a moment, because something can never become nothing. It must be infinite in space, it must be everywhere, for there is no place outside of the all. Okay. It cannot be otherwise than continuous in space, without break, cessation, separation, or interruption, for there is nothing to break, separate, or interrupt. It is continuity and nothing with which to fill in the gaps. It must be infinite in power or absolute, for there is nothing to limit, restrict, restrain, confine, disturb, or condition it. It is subject to no other power there, for there is no other power. The all it must be immutable or not subject to change in its real nature, for there is nothing to work change it for there is nothing to work changes upon it, nothing into which it could change, nor from which it could have changed. It cannot be added nor subtracted from, increased nor diminished, nor become greater or lesser in any respect whatsoever. It must have always been and must always remain just what it is now, the all. There has never been, is not now, and never will be anything else into which it can change. The all, being infinite, absolute, eternal, and unchangeable, it must follow that anything finite, changeable, fleeting, and conditioned cannot be the all. And as there is nothing outside of the all, in reality, then any and all such finite things must be as nothing in reality. Now, do not become befogged or frightened. We are not trying to lead you into the Christian science field under the cover of Hermetic philosophy. There is a reconciliation of this apparently contradictory state of affairs. Be patient, we will reach it in time. We see around us that which is called matter, which forms the physical foundation for all forms. It is the all merely matter, not at all. Matter cannot manifest life or mind, and as life and mind are manifested in the universe, the all cannot be matter, for nothing rises higher than its own source. Nothing is ever manifested in an effect that is not in the cause. Nothing is evolved as a consequent that is not involved as an antis- antecedent. And the modern science informs us that there is really no such thing as matter, that what we call matter is merely interrupted energy or force. That is energy or force at a low rate of vibration. As a recent writer has said, matter has melted into mystery. Even material science has abandoned the theory of matter and now rests on the basis of energy. Then is the all mere energy or force? Not energy or force, as the materialists use the terms, for their energy and force are blind, mechanical things devoid of life or mind. Life and mind can never evolve from blind energy or force. For the reason given a moment ago, nothing can rise higher than its source. Nothing is evolved unless it is involved. Nothing manifests in effect unless it is in the cause. And so the all cannot be mere energy or force, for if it were, then there would be no such thing as life and mind in existence. And we know better than that, for we are alive using mind to consider this very question. And so are those who claim that energy or force is everything. All right. What is there then higher than matter or energy that known to be existent in the universe? Life and mind. Life and mind in all their varying degrees of unfoldment. Then you ask, do you mean to tell us that the all is life and mind? Yes and no is our answer. If you mean life and mind as we poor petty mortals know them, we say no. The all is not that, but what kind of life and mind do you mean, you ask? The answer is living mind, as far above that which mortals know by those words as life and mind are higher than mechanical forces, or matter, infinite living mind, as compared to finite life and mind. We mean that which Illumined, illumined souls mean that they reverently pronounce the word spirit. The all is infinite living mind. The illumined call it spirit. Okay. So I just wanted to read that just so you guys kind of get a little taste about it. All right. So now we'll get into the principles. Okay. All right. So we're not going to get into every single principle tonight, but we'll get in, I don't know, 4, maybe 5 of them. Okay. So the 7 Hermetic principles upon which the entire Hermetic philosophy is based are as follows: the principle of mentalism, the principle of correspondence, the principle of vibration, the principle of polarity, and the principle of rhythm. Okay? These 7 principles will be discussed and explained as we proceed with the lesson. A short explanation of each, however, may as well be given at this point. So this is like each principle with, I don't know, maybe a paragraph or 2, or just kind of explain it a little bit, and then I will do my best to kind of break it down so everybody can understand, or I'll just break it down to the way that I understand, and hopefully you guys understand too. Because I mean, I think if I could get it, you guys get it. You know. So, all right. Here's the first one: the principle of mentalism. The all is mind. The universe is mental. Okay. This principle embodies the truth that all is mind. It explains that all, which is substantial reality underlying all outward manifestations and appearances, which we know under the terms of the material universe, the phenomenon of life, matter, energy, and in short, all that is apparent to our material senses, is spirit, which in itself unknowable and undeniable and undefinable, but which may be considered and thought of as an universal, infinite living mind. It also explains that all phenomenal world or universe is simply mental creation of the all, subject to the laws of created things, and that the universe as a whole and in its parts or units has its existence in the mind of the all, in which mind we live and move and have our being. This principle, by establishing the mental nature of the universe, easily explains all of the varied mental and physical phenomenon that which occupy such a large portion of public attention, and which, without such explanation, are non understandable and defy scientific treatment. An understanding of this great Hermetic principle of mentalism enables the individual to readily grasp the laws of the mental universe and to apply the same to his well being and advancement. The Hermetic student is enabled to apply intelligently the great mental laws instead of using them in a haphazard manner. With the master key in his possession, the student may unlock the many doors of the mental and psychic temple of knowledge and enter the same freely and intelligently. This principle explains the true nature of energy, power, and matter, and why and how all these are subordinate to the mastery of the mind. One of the old Hermetic masters wrote long ages ago, "He who grasps the truth of the mental nature of the universe is well advanced on the path to mastery." And these words are true today as at the time they were first written. Without the master key, mastery is impossible, and the student knocks in vain at many doors of the temple. Okay, so that is the principle of mentalism. Okay, and so basically it's everything everything starts in the mind. The universe is mental, like a giant living thought. Um, Try to like picture um, picture your whole reality, your job, your friends, your bank account, even the weather you complain about. It isn't out there or separate from you. It's all projected from one big universal mind. And guess what? Your mind is part of that universal mind as well. So, yeah, your thoughts aren't just thoughts or ideas. They're like raw material. What you think, what you feel, and what you believe hard enough, it shapes it shapes it shapes your life and what shows up in your life. All right, what you think, what you feel, and what you believe hard enough. And not be it's not because I mean, yes, it's part of manifesting, but I mean, if you just do those three things, um, because your mind is like a blueprint and reality is just following the script. So change your headspace, change your beliefs, and change your life, right? I mean, it's as simple as that. And this is the principle of mentalism. See, I mean, okay, so what you think about throughout the day the most, and what you feel is is projecting you're projecting that out to the universe, and that's what you're going to get back. So if you're not living in love, light, truth, authenticity, and helping others, and doing your best to be the absolute best version of you, then you're not going to be sending a clear coherent signal. We'll get into that in a little bit here, but um yeah, the universe is mental, everything is mental. You create with your thoughts, everything. All right, so the next principle is the principle of correspondence. And all right, let's get into that one. So as above, so below, as below, so above. This principle embodies the truth that there is always a correspondence between the laws and phenomena of the various planes of being and of life. The old Hermetic axiom ran in these words: as above, so below, as, as below, so above. And the grasping of this principle gives one the means of solving many dark paradox and hidden secret of nature. There are planes beyond our knowing, but when we apply the principle of correspondence to them, we are able to understand much that would otherwise be unknowable to us. This principle is of universal application and manifestation on various planes of the material, mental, and spiritual universe. It is an universal law. The ancient Hermeticists considered this principle as one of the most important mental instruments by which man was able to pry aside the obstacles which he hid from view, the unknown. It is even tore aside the veil of Isis to the extent that a glimpse of the face of the goddess might be caught, just as knowledge of the principles of geometry enables man to measure distant suns and their movements while seated in his observatory. So, a knowledge of the principle of correspondence enables man to reason intelligently from the known to the unknown. Studying the monad, he understands the archangel. Okay. So that was the principle of correspondence. Okay, so basically correspondence is like everything, and it, like I said, man, it all of this kind of, weaves together, and you know it all goes together. So correspondence, everything in your life, relationships, money, health, mood, it is just a mirror of what's going on inside of you. If your inner world is stressed or stuck, then then you if your inner world is stressed, stuck, depressed, anxiety, full of chaos, then that's what your outer world is going to be. Uh, it's I mean, and if you're walking around grateful and love, light, truth, and understanding and helping others, then that'll be what you get. You'll just get that kind of stuff back. The universe is a mirror, man. Whatever you're putting out, you're getting back. Okay. All right. So that's pretty much yeah. All right. So let's go to the next one. The next one is the principle of vibration. Okay. The principle of vibration. Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. Right now, that cup's vibrating, everything on here is vibrating, the wall, the lamp, me, everything. This principle embodies the truth that everything is in motion, everything vibrates, nothing is at rest. Facts which modern science endorses and which each new scientific discovery tends to verify. And yet, this Hermetic principle was enunciated thousands of years ago by the masters of the ancient Egypt. This principle explains that between the differences between manifestations of matter, energy, mind, and even spirit. result largely from varying rates of vibration from the all, which is pure spirit, down to the grossest form of matter. All is in vibration. The higher the vibration, the higher the position in the scale. The vibration of spirit is at such an infinite rate of intensity and rapidity that it is practically at rest, just as a rapidly moving wheel seems to be motionless. But at the other end of the scale, there are gross forms of matter whose vibrations are so low as to seem at rest. Between these poles, there are millions upon millions of varying degrees of vibration. From cor- carsp- corpuscle and electron, atom, and molecule to worlds and universes, everything is in vibratory motion. This is also true on the planes of energy and force, which are but varying degrees of vibration, and also on mental planes, whose states depend upon vibrations, and even on the spiritual planes. An understanding of this principle with the appropriate formulas enables Hermetic students to control their own mental vibrations as well as those of others. The masters also apply this principle to conquering of natural phenomenon in various ways. He who understands the principle of vibration has grasped the scepter of power, says the old writers. So everything is vibrating, everything, nothing rests, nothing. Everything is vibrating. Okay, so vibration. Everything vibrates. Your body, thoughts, objects, and emotions vibrate at its own frequency. It's um it's kind of like a guitar, okay? So if you pluck a string, it wiggles. That's the vibration. The faster it wiggles, the higher the vibration. The lower and heavy and slower it wiggles, the lower the vibration. Okay. Um, low vibes is like heavy, foggy, feeling stuck, depressed, anxious, angry. Um, it just you kind of feel like you're listening to a scratched record or static radio. You just got so much going on. You don't know what you're feeling. But high vibrations would be clear, happiness, being grateful, love, understanding, helping others, truth, light, anything like that. And the trick is that you can raise or change your frequency through through your thoughts and through gratitude and love and helping others, or you can not change your frequency and keep getting what you're getting. It's up to you. Yeah, or you could have a low frequency hanging around negative people and having negative thoughts. And I mean, who wants that, dude? You only live once, right? Let's live the best life possible. All right. Okay, so what's the next one here? Oh yeah, polarity. Okay, the principle of polarity. I think we got yeah, two more and then we're done. So I'll try and hurry up. Okay, everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Extremes meet. All truths are but half truths. All paradoxes may be reconciled. So the this principle embodies the truth that everything is dual, everything has two poles, everything has a pair of opposites, all of which were old Hermetic axioms. It explains the old paradoxes that have perplexed so many, which have been stated as follows. Thesis and antithesis are identical in nature but different in degree. Opposites are the same, differing only in degree. The pairs of opposites may be reconciled, extremes meet. Everything is and isn't at the same time. All truths are but half truths. Every truth is a half false. There are two sides to everything, etc., etc., etc. It explains that everything there are two poles or opposite aspects, and that opposites are really only the two extremes of the same thing, with many varying degrees between them. To illustrate hot and cold, although opposites are really the same thing, the difference consisting merely of degrees of the same thing. Look at your thermometer and see if you can discover where heat terminates and cold begins. There is no such thing as absolute heat or absolute cold. The two terms heat and cold simply indicate varying degrees of the same thing, and that same thing which manifests hot and cold is merely a form of variety, a rate of vibration. So hot and cold are simply the two poles of that which we call hot or heat, and the phenomenon attendant thereupon are manifestations of the principle of polarity. The same principle manifests in the case of light and darkness, which are the same thing but difference consisting in varying degrees between the two poles of phenomenon. Where does darkness leave off and light begin? What's the difference between large and small? Between hard and soft, between black and white, between sharp and dull, between noise and quiet, between high and low, between positive and negative. The principle of polarity explains these paradoxes, and no other principle can supersede it. The same principle operates on the mental plane. Let us take a radical and extreme example, that of love and hate, two mental states apparently totally different, and yet there are degrees of hate and degrees of love. And at the middle point, in which we use terms like or dislike, which shade into each other so gradually that sometimes we are at a loss to know whether we like or dislike or neither, and all are simply degrees of the same thing. As you will see, if you will but think a moment, and more than this, and considered of more importance by the Hermeticists, is it is possible to change the vibrations of hate to the vibrations of love in one's own mind and in minds of others. Many of you who read these lines have had personal experiences of the involuntary rapid transition from love to hate, and the reverse in your own case and that of others. And you will therefore realize the possibility of this being accomplished by the use of the will. By means of Hermetic formulas, good and evil are but the poles of the same thing. And the Hermeticists understand the art of transmuting evil into good by means of application of the principle of polarity. In short, the art of polarization becomes a phrase of mental alchemy, known and practiced by the ancient and modern Hermetic masters. An understanding of the principle will enable one to change his own polarity as well as that of others if he will devote the time and study necessary to master the art. Okay. Okay, polarity. Sorry, folks. All right. Everything comes in pairs: hot, cold, up, down, light, dark. They're all the same. They're all the same, and they're all on the same spectrum. Think of it, I don't know, kind of like a stick, right? Here's a stick, here's hot, here's cold. They're the same thing. It's just different degrees. Wherever you end up on the stick somewhere. So there's no warm without cold, no happy without sad. They're not opposites, they're just extremes of the same thing. Okay? You want less fear? Don't fight it, just shift towards courage. You want peace? Stop chasing chaos and lean into calm. Okay? It's like a thermostat. Okay? You don't smash the dial, you just turn it up or down to get to where you want to go. Same energy, different settings, right? So polarity isn't about picking sides, it's about knowing the whole range is yours to play with. So I mean, right? This is a stick in between my hands. Happy, sad, wherever on that, wherever you want to be, man. It's up to you. Okay. All right. So now we have. Hold on. I think it's the principle. Yeah, the principle of rhythm. All right. Last principle, and then we're done. I'm sorry for keeping you so long. All right. So the principle of rhythm. Everything flows out and in. Everything has. Hold on. Okay. So everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise. All things fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. So, this principle embodies the truth that everything there is manifested and measured motion, to and fro, a flow and inflow, a swing backward and forward, a pendulum like movement, like a tide like ebb and flow, a high tide, a low tide, between the two poles which exist in accordance with the principle of polarity described a moment ago. There is always an action and a reaction, an advance and a retreat, a rising and a sinking. This is in the affairs of the universe: suns, worlds, men, animals, mind, energy, and matter. This law manifests in the creation and destruction of worlds, in the rise and fall of nations, in the life of all things, and finally in the mental states of man. And it is with this latter that the Hermeticists find the understanding of the principle most important. The Hermeticists have grasped this principle, finding its universal application, and have also discovered certain means to overcome its effects in themselves by the use of appropriate formulas and methods. They apply the mental law of neutralization. They cannot annul the principle or cause it to cease its operation, but they have learned how to escape its effects upon themselves to a certain degree, depending upon the mastery of the principle. They have learned how to use it instead of being used by it. And this and similar methods consist of art of Hermeticists. The master of Hermeticists polarizes himself at the point at which he desires to rest, and then neutralizes the rhythm swing of the pendulum, which would tend to carry him to the other pole. All individuals who have attained any degree of self mastery do this to a certain degree, more or less unconsciously, but the master does this consciously and by the use of his will, and attains a degree of poise and mental firmness almost impossible of belief on the part of the masses, who are swung backward and forward like a pendulum. This principle and that of polarity have been closely studied by the Hermeticists, and methods of counteracting, neutralizing, and using them form an important part of Hermetic and mental alchemy. All right. All right. Um, yeah. All right. Principle of rhythm. All right. Last one, folks. Everything in life swings like a pendulum, up and down, high and low, good times, bad times. Nothing stays the same forever. It's all waves, tides, and cycles. Your mood ebb and flows, money comes and goes, relationships hot and cold, spring blooms, winter sleeps, even the seasons do it. The trick, you can't stop the swing, but you can ride it. When you're down, know that the upswing is coming, and when you're flying high, brace for the drop. And the cool part is you can nudge the rhythm, stay calm in the lows and humble in the highs, and suddenly you're not bouncing around, you are surfing the pendulum. Okay, so yeah, so like I said, you could walk around every day with love, light, truth, and everything in your heart, and you can be having the right thoughts and everything. Hey, life still happens, right? That pendulum still swings. So um, just understand that if things are going super, super good for you, that just brace for the fall. And if life hits you with something, that's why I don't freak out when things happen to me, and I know that it's going to work out, because I just have to wait for the upswing and then make my moves, right? So I hope this helps some people. I hope you guys got a little bit out of this. On the next episode, we will do uh, the last two principles and stuff like that. And yeah, so things are going good. Everything is working out, feeling better every day. Still, man, just a little bit sore here and there, but other than that, pretty much good for the most part. But thanks for anybody. Thanks for anybody who okay, yeah. So thank you guys for watching this. I hope that you guys kind of understand or get something out of it. I hope that everybody is you know meditating and expanding their knowledge and reading and doing affirmations and writing down goals and all the stuff. Um, Nobody commented on the last video when I asked about it, so yeah, we'll see. Maybe we'll get there eventually. But yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for hanging out. I will be back in a couple days, and we'll finish up the last couple principles, and then we'll move on to something else. All right. So thanks. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend and enjoys the weekend off, hopefully. And I hope everybody's out there living abundantly. All right. If you like what you hear, please like and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. See you guys tomorrow, or I mean, in a couple days.